First aid is an important skill to have. As well as first aid for grown-ups, there are also first aid courses for infants, and they are something you and your partner might consider doing. Well, here with us today is Scott Mitchell from the St John Ambulance Service. Welcome to the show, Scott.
Thanks for having me here.
So Scott, how can we prevent most of the accidents that occur at home?
Well, there's a lot of things that we can do. For example, in the kitchen, having the handles turned in so that there's many cooking things on the stove, that whatever's cooking doesn't spill on the child.
Because that's for burning and scalding.
Exactly. And in regards to poisons, making sure that they're clearly labelled in their original bottles and that they're kept up high and locked away so that children and infants don't have access to them.
Okay, so by not having them in their original bottles, like some people might put them in a Coke can or something.
Exactly. Coke bottles or Sprite bottles, and then you got little Johnny who comes along and tries, he's rummaging through the cupboard, sees some lemonade, he's like, oh, I'm a bit thirsty, I'll have some lemonade, and he's just down some methylated spirits.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So keep them in the original bottles.
Yeah.
Out of arm's reach.
Exactly.
Okay, what's some other things you can do to prevent accidents in the home?
Yeah, well, just your normal baby proofing as well, having rails on beds, having guards on stairs, having even gates on stairs as well, so that little babies who are just learning to crawl and walk can't fall down and potentially harm themselves.
So what are some common first aid issues for infants?
Well, the most common one would have to be just your normal bumps and things like that occur around the home. But there are a lot of parents out there that are concerned about allergic reactions and burns, and a lot of parents also want to know about drowning.
Even if you don't have a pool or a spa?
Yeah, no, anything like that. If you go to a park where there's a lake, or being anywhere near around a pond, or even at a friend's pool, or anywhere just near water, even in the bath as well, just a little amount of water can actually drown a child.
Yeah, they do say also to be careful if you soak nappies in buckets of water.
Okay.
So even like just a minimal amount of water can,
Yeah, just a little
risk.
amount of water can just fill up the lungs just for that little amount, which can actually drown them because their airway just blocks off.
Right.
Yeah, and as well as that, a lot of parents also just want to know about general resuscitation for children and infants, because what people know more about is adults, and there's not that much awareness about child and infants.
And there is a difference with the adults and children?
There used to be, but not anymore.
Oh, okay.
It's more about how we compress our hands and how far down the chest that we compress, and that's it.
Can you show us
Sure.
some little tips?
Sure. Well, I've got Butch here, and just in the normal adult, when we are doing compressions, we just interlock our hands and just compress. However, in relation to size, babies are a lot smaller than adults, so we just use our 2 fingers and we're just compressing on the chest just like that, just with our 2 fingers. We do it at a rate of 30 compressions to 2 breaths. So we do 30 of these just in the centre of the chest, and then just 2 quick breaths. Something that's really important to know is that in regards to the head, in adults we tilt the head all the way back. However, with a child, it just has to be in its natural position just because the airway hasn't fully developed yet. And I've also got little Johnny here.
So just with Butch, what you showed them, that's good for like drowning or...
Well, with drowning, you'd normally just give about 5 breaths and then commence your CPR from there. But yeah, just with Butch, it's just your 2 fingers with your 30 compressions and 2 breaths.
Okay, so you're going to show what's this gentleman's name?
Johnny.
Johnny, okay.
Little Johnny. Very similar to an adult, except we're only compressing, we still use our 2 hands, and we only compress about 1/3 of the depth of the chest. Okay, it's
and this
easy
is for
to do
what
on the
age?
floor. We don't really follow ages anymore. We just more compare it to size. But as long as you compress about 1/3 of the depth of the chest, you'll be fine.
Okay. Wonderful. And of course, this doesn't take place of actually doing the course itself.
Exactly. St John does offer a lot of courses, especially with children and infants, as well as our normal first aid courses.
And it's actually a good idea, so you can work it under supervision as
Yes.
you're being taught these things.
Exactly. We go through all the theory, and you do get a lot of time to practice doing resuscitation. And it's really important that you actually do use the time to practice, because you're not going to get an opportunity to practice anywhere else. So
No. How important is it for your babysitter or a carer who's looking after your child to have completed a first aid course?
it's not a legal requirement per se. However, it is generally a really good idea for babysitters and nannies and carers and things like that. Just more awareness, just having the knowledge of what to do in any sort of first aid situation, which is strongly what we encourage as well. So yeah, it's not a legal requirement, but it's a really good idea.
Yeah, wonderful.
Definitely.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show today.
No worries, thank you for having me.
Thank you. If you'd like to do a course or obtain more information, hop onto our website at roomtogrow.tv.